God fights for me. I do not think I always understood what that meant. Sometimes I imagined it would look dramatic, obvious, immediate. But life does not always unfold that way. Most days look ordinary. An alarm before sunrise, a crowded commute, work waiting before the day even begins, responsibilities, bills, phone calls, deadlines, people depending on you, people having expectations of you. And somewhere in the middle of all of it, life can start feeling heavier than you expected. Not because everything is falling apart, just because carrying responsibility every day can quietly wear on a person. I think a lot of people are carrying more than they say, trying to stay steady, trying to stay responsible, trying to keep showing up, trying not to let pressure change who they are. In all that trying, it can start to feel like you are standing alone, like everything depends on you. But you are not standing there by yourself. Someone is fighting for you. How do we know? Because God has a history of fighting for the people he loves. Moses stood trapped between the sea and an army he could not outrun. No clear way forward. No human solution. No control over what was closing in around him. And God said in Exodus 14:13 through 14, "The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still." I think modern life can feel like that sometimes. Situations you cannot control. Responsibilities you cannot escape. Moments where you do not know how everything is going to work out. Moments where your mind keeps searching for answers that are not there. Yet. And still, somehow God keeps making a way forward. One step at a time. Jehoshaphat looked at a battle that was larger than his own strength. Too many enemies, too much pressure, too much to carry alone. And God said in 2 Chronicles 20:15, "The battle is not yours, but God's." I think a lot of people are exhausted from trying to carry battles they were never meant to carry on their own. The pressure to hold everything together, the fear of disappointing people, the weight of always needing to be strong. But Scripture reminds us that surrender is not weakness. Sometimes it is the beginning of peace. Daniel knew what it meant to remain faithful under pressure, to keep trusting God while surrounded by uncertainty, to keep his integrity when compromise would have been easier, to stand firm without knowing how the story would end. And God did not abandon him there. A lot of people know what it feels like to quietly carry pressure while still trying to thrive, still showing up, still working, still moving forward, still reaching for God, even when life feels unsettled. God did not always remove his people from difficult situations. Sometimes he sustained them within them. Everyone else saw the size of Goliath. David remembered who God was. 1 Samuel 17 reminds us of that truth. Fear has a way of making things feel larger than they are. The future, finances, responsibilities, unanswered questions. Sometimes the giant is not one dramatic crisis. Sometimes it is the quiet accumulation of pressure over time. But again and again, Scripture reminds us that God has always been greater than what his people faced. The disciples panicked because the storm felt bigger than their peace. Mark 4:35 through 41 shows us that moment. And for a moment, it felt like Jesus was silent. A lot of people know what that feels like too. Wondering where God is in the middle of pressure. Wondering if he sees. Wondering if he is still near when life feels heavy, and quiet at the same time. But Jesus stood and said, "Peace, be still." The disciples thought silence meant abandonment, but Jesus was still in the boat. And maybe that is what I am still learning. The same God who made a way through the sea, who fought for Jehoshaphat, who sustained Daniel, who strengthened David, and who calmed the storm, has not changed. God fights for his people, not only in ancient stories, not only in dramatic moments, but here, now, in ordinary lives, in quiet prayers, in responsibilities, in pressures, in moments where people are simply trying to keep moving forward faithfully. God's faithfulness has not become smaller with time. Sometimes we just forget that the same God who fought then is still fighting now. And maybe that is why this matters so much. Because life still has battles. People still get tired. People still feel overwhelmed. People still need wisdom, peace, strength, direction, courage. And God is still giving those things. The battles may look different now, but God has not changed. God fights for his people, and God still fights for me.